This Thursday, 14 November hearing officer meeting is called to order. Good morning, I am hearing officer Gina Natoli. I will be the hearing officer on all agenda items. A few administrative items first. Please turn off or silence all electronic communication devices. If you'd like to follow along with today's proceedings, there are agendas available in the back of the room. There are established time limits for testimony on hearing officer agenda items. Petitioners have up to 10 minutes for their initial presentation. You do not need to take the full 10 minutes, but you have up to 10 minutes. Any rebuttal period is up to 5 minutes. Respondents have also up to 10 minutes for their presentations. All others will have 2 minutes each, and there is no ceding of time. Anyone wishing to testify today on any agenda item, and that includes the public comment period, must fill out a speaker card and submit that to staff in the back of the room. There is an audio and video recording being made of today's proceedings, and it will be available from Department of Consumer and Business Affairs staff within 10 working days. The general procedure for today's agenda items is as follows. First, staff will make a brief presentation. Then the petitioner will speak. After the petitioner, I will hear from respondents, and then any other members of the public. After that, if necessary, I will hear rebuttals by the petitioner. Final decisions made by hearing officers on landlord petitions which do not assess an administrative penalty, and final decisions on all tenant petitions are final and are not subject to further appeal at the county. If you intend to testify today on any agenda item, and again, that includes the public comment period, I'm going to ask that you stand at this time to be sworn in. If you plan to speak today, please stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. You may be seated. I will be taking the agenda items in order today. We're going to part 2 of the public hearing items. Items 2 through 6 will be presented under one presentation. Ms. Lewis, please proceed.
Thank you. As you stated, items 2 through 6 will be presented together.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, items 2 through 5.
Through 5, yes. It's okay. Thank you.
2 through 5.
They will be presented together. It's for the following cases: RSQ19-06435, RSQ19-06436, RSQ19-06437, and RSQ19-06438. These are each petitions for noncompliance under the Interim Rent Stabilization Ordinance. The petitioners for these cases are all tenants: Antonio Martinon, Eduardo Ortega, Kayla Lopez, and Maria Ramirez. The respondents in this case are B&G Realty, LLC, and that's the landlord. There's also the property manager as well, whose name is Gloria. The petition date for each of the cases is June 10, 2019. It's for the properties located at 1115 through 1119 East 75th Street, Los Angeles, California, 90001. Again, these petitioners are requesting a reduction in rent in accordance with the interim rent stabilization ordinance 2018-0045. The property is located in the unincorporated area of Florence in Los Angeles County and is a residential dwelling on a property with 2 or more units and was built in 1940. So now I'll speak about the cases separately in regards to their issues. This is specific to case number RSQ 1906435, which is Antonio Martinon. So the base rent as of September 11, 2008 was $1,300 per the lease agreement dated on July 12, 2018. The petitioner was provided with a rent credit addendum offering monthly rent credits as a reduction against the actual rent of $1,300, ranging from $50 to $200 over the course of 8 months. So those numbers, the $50 to $200, that was that range of rental credits. It just depended on which month they were paying the rent, what that credit would be. So it could range anywhere from $50 to $75 to $100, all the way through $200. The rent of $1,300 was increased in October 2019 by the allowable limit, which is currently 3%. So their rent was increased to $1,339. RSQ 190436 is the same exact situation. Their base rent as of September 11, 2018 was $1,300, and that was per the lease agreement, and this one was dated on July 10th, 2018. The same situation, the tenants were provided with a rent credit addendum that offered monthly rent credits as a reduction against the actual rent, and those rent credits ranged from $50 to $200, and it was over the course of 8 months. Those rent credits ended in May 2019. The base rent of $1,300 was increased in October 2019, increasing their rent to $1,339 based on the ordinance's allowable limit of 3%. RSQ 1906437 is the same exact situation in the same exact numbers. Their base rent on September 11, 2018 was $1,300, and the lease agreement was dated on July 10th, 2018. Then the petitioner was provided with a rent credit addendum, again offering monthly rent credits as a reduction against the actual rent, ranging from $50 to $200, and again it was over the course of the 8 months, ending in May 2019. In October 2019, the rent was increased from $1,300 to $1,339 by the allowable 3% limit. The last case is a bit different in terms of the actual rent. So this is for RSQ 1906438. So the base rent as of September 11, 2018 was $1,650 per the lease agreement dated July 10, 2018. This petitioner was also provided with rent credits against the actual rent, and that occurred over 8 months, ending in May 2019. And the rent credits provided for this tenant range from $50 to $350. The rent of $1,650 was increased in October 2019 by the allowable limit of 3%, increasing their rent to $1,699.50. Okay. So DCBA received the proof of service forms from each of the petitioners on June 11, 2019. We then sent out a notice of hearing to both the petitioners and respondents, as well as the property manager, on October 25th, 2019. I'll briefly go over the contact with the landlord. We made our initial contact with the landlord back in June 2019 regarding the ordinance. At that point, we wanted to counsel the landlord on the ordinance as well as the allowable limits. And during that time, we did have the opportunity to counsel the landlord, and they also let us know that there was a lease agreement that they believed was not in violation of the ordinance. We reached back out in September 2019 to follow up on the case, but we did not get a return call. And then we contacted the property manager on the 25th of 2019 and counseled her on the interim rent stabilization ordinance. During that time, we advised them, and we were under the impression that the rent could not be increased in excess of the allowable limit, regardless of the issuance of the rent credits. We also informed them that we would be scheduling a hearing, and at that time, the property manager informed us that they would work with us to rescind the rent increases in accordance with the ordinance. We did follow up with them via email, providing them with the information in writing as well as the fact sheets and just following up on the discussion, but we did not receive any follow-up from the property manager. We reached back out to them on October 3rd, 2019 to discuss rescinding the rent increase, but we did not have any follow-up. But they did reach out to us, and the actual landlord did reach out to us, and we had the opportunity to again speak regarding the petitions for noncompliance, the validity of the rent credits, and the landlord at that time stated that he had decreased the rent credits for the tenants, so going from the $350 to $50 or the $200 to $50 in rent credits, because he was trying to get their rents up to the least amount. So he states that he had provided the rent credits to the tenants as relief against what the actual rent was listed in the lease, and to allow them to work their way up to the actual amount on there every month. And again, during that time, we did inform them that a hearing would be scheduled on the case, and they let us know that they would be in attendance for the hearing. We did contact them again on October 17th. The property manager as well as the landlord, they visited DCBA, and we informed them that we were doing additional research on the case regarding the rent credits and their validity, along with the lease agreements that we were able to locate. And then we also informed them at the time that we had actually reached out to county council to further review the case, and let them know that we would be providing them with an updated continuance date. Our last contact was made on October 30th. The landlord reached out to DCBA to determine if we had made a decision on the case, and we let them know that the recommendation on the case would be provided to them by the Monday before the hearing. And again, it's DCBA's recommendation, not the hearing officer's decision. Okay. According to the interim rent stabilization ordinance and based on the lease agreement's established rent, the petitioners for RSQ 19-06435, RSQ 19-06436, and RSQ 19-06437, their maximum allowable rent should be no more than $1,339. Since DCBA was provided with a lease agreement establishing the base rent as $1,300 in July 2018, the rent payments that were made over the course of September 2018, when the ordinance went into effect, through July 2019, seem allowable under the ordinance. On August 30th, 2019, the petitioners were issued with a notice of rent increase in the amount of 3%, to go into effect on October 2019, as allowed under the ordinance, again increasing their monthly rent from $1,300 to $1,339. According to the ordinance, the petitioner in RSQ 1906438, and based on the lease agreement's established rent, the petitioner's maximum allowable rent should be no more than $1,699.50. Since DCBA was provided with the lease agreement establishing base rent as $1,650 in July 2018, the rent payments made over the course of September 2018 through July 2019 seem to be allowed under the ordinance. On August 30th, 2019, the petitioner was issued with a notice of increase in the amount of 3% to go into effect in October as allowed under the ordinance, increasing monthly rent to $1,699.50. Here it should be noted that the petitioner's report, and this is the petitioners in all of these cases, report not receiving or signing a lease agreement provided to DCBA by the landlord, and thus been unaware of their actual rent without the rent credit. The petitioners do report that while they did sign the rent credit addendum, they were uncertain of its terms because it was provided in English and their primary language is Spanish. Unfortunately, the issues regarding the validity of the signatures and actual receipt of the lease agreements and the addendums being provided in a language outside of their primary language seem to be outside of the jurisdiction of DCBA. DCBA's recommendation for the petition is based on the fact that the issues raised in the petition do not demonstrate violation of the ordinance, but instead matters that should be handled civilly. At this time, DCBA staff is recommending denial of the following interim rent stabilization ordinance petitions for noncompliance. Case numbers RSQ 1906435, RSQ 1906436, RSQ 1906437, and RSQ 1906438. We do want to make sure that it's known that DCBA does recognize the hearing officer's discretion to determine whether the termination of the rent credits constitute a rent increase in excess of the allowable limit under the ordinance, and if the petition should be approved or denied accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lewis. I do not have any questions for you at this time. I am going to open the public hearings for cases RSQ 1906435, RSQ 1906436, RSQ 1906437, and RSQ 1906438. I'll start by taking our first speaker. Call Senor Antonio Martinon. Buenos dias, senor. Please take a seat. Go ahead and sit down. Are you running the timer, Abraham? Senor Martinon, there's a timer on the desk.
Aquí hay un reloj que le marca el tiempo.
It will be set to 10 minutes.
Va a ser puesto para 10 minutos.
When your time starts, the green light will come on.
Cuando comience, va a haber una luz verde.
When you have 30 seconds left, the yellow light will come on.
30 segundos va a venir la luz amarilla.
And when you see that yellow light, please wrap up your comments, because when the red light comes on,
Para terminar, porque cuando
you are finished.
roja ya termina.
Please, I just need you to state your name for the record before you begin.
Diga su nombre para el récord antes de empezar.
Mi nombre es Antonio Martino.
Very good.
My name is Antonio Martinon.
And our translator today, interpreter, excuse me.
My name is Ana Lu Fernandini.
Yes, I just need for you to have that for the record too. And I just asked Mr. Martino that you pause every now and then so our interpreter can interpret for me.
Ella está pidiendo que usted tome pausas para que yo tenga la oportunidad de interpretar para usted.
Okay. El día 12 de julio del 2018 fuimos a la casa de la señora Gloria.
On July 12th, we went, no, to 2018, we went to Gloria's house.
Nos explicó la señora Gloria que el dueño le estaba pidiendo un reporte, el banco que nosotros teníamos que... ahí la renta era de $2,250.
She told us that she needed a report from the bank that stipulated that the rent was $2,250.
Pero nos explicó que el dueño, como nosotros éramos buenos inquilinos,
But she told us that the owner, since we were good tenants,
teníamos un crédito que no íbamos a pagar ningún quinto, ni un dólar de eso que estaba diciendo de 2,250. Nomás quería ese reporte el banco.
that we had a credit that's, because we were good tenants, we had a credit and we weren't supposed to pay those $2,250. They just needed a report from the bank.
Dice, pero también dice, vamos a aumentar $100, pero en 2 pagos.
We're also gonna raise the rent, but by $100, but in 2 payments.
Dice, como fuimos en julio, en agosto iban a ser 50.
Since we went in July, $50 were going to be due in August,
Y en diciembre los otros 50.
and in December another 50.
Pero eso decía, pero dice que nosotros no nos iba a aumentar el crédito.
And she told us that the credit would not be raised.
Pero todo eso fue mentira,
But everything was a lie.
porque en lugar de eso nos fue aumentando 50, 100, casi en 2 meses cada esos pagos.
But it was all a lie. She started to raise first 50, then 100 within 2 months.
Hasta llegar del total de 250 en menos de un año.
Until they reached $250 in less than 1 year.
Eso creemos que no está bien,
We
que
don't
no
think
es
that's
justo,
We don't think that's fair.
porque me parece que no estaban lo que es la ley.
I don't think that's according to the law.
Me parece que es para mí lo más importante,
I think the most important thing,
porque pues ella explicaba que nos dijo cuentos que el banco le estaba pidiendo pruebas y que no sé qué, y nos puso un papel, no en español, y dice, firmen o ustedes sabrán.
because she told us stories and she kept on telling us about the bank needing some type of document. Then she gave us a document that was in English to be signed.
Por eso se lo dejamos a su creación. Pues,
That's what we're asking for your consideration.
muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, señor Martinón. All right, our next speaker is Eduardo Ortega. Buenos días, señora. Please have a seat. And again, please just state your name for the record before you begin.
Para el récord antes de empezar.
Eduardo Ortega.
Sí, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, señora Ortega.
Ok, buenos días.
Morning.
Yo nomás estoy aquí. Bueno, de hecho es lo mismo, nada más de que, así como el señor Antonio explicó, cuando me tocó ir a mí a la casa de la señora Gloria,
Okay, yo tengo la misma. Sorry, I
That's
have the same
okay.
information as Mr. Ortega. The same information he already provided, but the day that I had to go to Miss Gloria's house,
en lo que la señora me explicó a mí fue de que iba yo a tener un crédito, pero
is that I was going to have a credit.
Pero para mí yo entiendo que un crédito tiene que ser algo que me beneficie, no que me perjudique en cuanto hubo aumentos de renta posteriormente.
As far as I know, a credit should be something that benefits me, not that hurts me, because there were rent increases after this.
Porque como yo tengo ejemplos, pago luz, cuando a mí me dan crédito, a veces yo no pago luz porque yo tengo un crédito, pero aquí fue diferente.
As an example, when I pay electricity, if I get a credit, then I don't pay. But in here, it's a different story.
Entonces, ya después, sí, yo firmé un papel, estoy consciente, pero después me di cuenta que fue una forma de que me envolvieron para poderme aumentar cuando ellos tenían que haber sido claros de decir que era un aumento de renta, más no un crédito.
I am aware that I did sign a paper, but this paper that I signed, I wasn't aware that it was for a rent increase.
Ok, y también la señora se basa en decir que que eso era parte del contrato que yo firmé y no es así. Yo aquí traigo copias que si usted quiere yo le puedo mostrar donde no, lo que yo firmé no fue el contrato. Aquí yo traigo las copias.
The lady is saying that the forms that I signed were the contract, but I did not sign the contract. I have copies of the forms that I signed, and they are not the contract. I can provide them to you if you wish.
Ahorita para el mes de octubre el aumento, estoy muy consciente que sí está bien, de acuerdo a lo que ya ahorita, de lo que ahorita ya aprobaron para lo del control de renta, que es el 3%, está muy bien.
I understand the October's raise, it is according to the rent ordinance, and I agree with that.
Pues es todo ya, la decisión pues usted la tomará. Gracias.
That's it, and I understand you will make a decision.
Thank you, and I have a question for you.
¿Tiene una pregunta para usted?
Yeah.
Have you seen the report on your property from DCBA?
¿Ha usted visto el reporte acerca de su propiedad del Departamento del Consumidor?
No, ahorita nada más lo que yo tengo fue lo que me mandaron por correo para lo del aumento que tuvimos en octubre, nada más eso.
She said no, the only thing she has is what she received in the mail about the raise in October, the rent increase in October.
All right, the report by DCBA
El reporte del Departamento del Consumidor
shows that in September and October 2018,
dice que diciembre y octubre del 2018
you paid $1,100 per month.
usted pagaba $1,100 al mes.
In November 2018, you paid $1,200.
En noviembre del 2018 usted pagaba $1,200.
In December 2018 and January 2019,
En diciembre y en enero del diciembre del 2018 y en enero del 2019
you paid $1,150.
usted pagaba usted pagó $1,150.
In February 2019, you paid $1,250.
Usted pagó $1,250.
In March 2019, you paid $1,200.
En el 2019 usted pagó $1,200.
And in April, it was $1,250.
Y en abril usted pagó $1,250.
Are those correct?
¿Estas cantidades están correctas?
En febrero ya era 1,200. Eran 1,200. Nunca me bajó, nunca ha bajado. Yo traigo los comprobantes.
How is it possible that in February it was $1,250 and then in March was $1,200? My raise has never decreased.
I don't know unless it was a late payment. I don't know.
Ella no sabe a menos que usted haya hecho pagos tarde.
No, yo traigo aquí todos mis comprobantes.
No, I have proof. I have proof with me.
So you have your rent receipts for the 8 months.
Para los 8 meses,
Aquí tengo todo.
You have your rent receipts for the 8 months between September 2018
¿Tiene los recibos de renta por los 8 meses desde septiembre de 2018
through April 2019?
hasta abril del 2019?
Hasta ahorita tengo.
Yes, I have them all.
Was it less than $1,300?
Su renta era menos de $1,300
Bueno,
de entre septiembre de 2018 y abril de 2019.
de julio 2018.
Menos de $1,300.
Era menos de. Pues hasta ahí nos cobraron 1,300. Apenas el septiembre 2019, sí, eran 1,300.
Until September 2019, that's when it became $1,300. In October, that's when it went up by $39.
So you were paying, let me ask you, Ms. Lewis, the rent amount paid in each of these petitions, where did you get the figures for the rent amount paid?
Rent receipts that were provided to us
By whom?
by the petitioners.
All right, so the rent receipts that Ms. Ortega has, Senora Ortega has, should be the same as what is shown in the report.
Yes, unless there's an error made on our behalf.
Okay. So, Senora Ortega, I don't understand.
Dice que ella no entiende.
If the receipts that you provided to DCBA,
Si los recibos que usted le proveyó a DCBA,
Aquí usted como me está quiere decir que me bajó.
what I can see is that according to what the information you gave me from February to March, it seems like my rent was reduced by $50.
what I'm interested in is what you paid,
Lo que ella quiere saber es cuánto es lo que usted pagó.
exactly what you paid.
Exactamente cuánto es que usted pagó.
Para ahorita ya para en este
When?
mes.
For every month between September 2018
Ella está interesada en saber cuánto pagó cada mes entre septiembre del 2018
through April 2019.
abril de 2019.
Bueno, cuando hicimos este papel pagábamos 1,050.
When we did this paper, we used to pay $1,050. Here, she's pointing at July 10, 2018.
Pagábamos 1,050.
I'm not interested in July.
No está ahí.
September
Julio,
2018
quiere saber de septiembre del 2018
through April 2019.
a abril del 2019.
Septiembre. Ahí traigo todos mis
I
papeles.
have all my documentation.
Ahí traigo todos mis papeles, yo puedo
I have all my
sacarlo y
documentation.
yo
I can bring them out and
porque
to
no le puedo
clarify.
decir algo exacto.
I cannot tell you
En mi mente
something
no
exactly in my
traigo
mind,
todos
but I have
mis-
everything.
mis comprobantes.
All the proof, I have it with me.
You are sure that you paid less than $1,300 for those 8 months?
¿Usted está segura que usted pagaba menos de $1,300 por todos esos meses?
Sí, pero aquí, ok.
But
Yo ahorita, ahora sí que hasta lo que fue septiembre pagué 1,300.
yes, but right now in September I paid $1,300.
That's fine. I'm not.
Está bien.
But I do want to see if you say you have a rental agreement from July 2018. I would like to see that.
Ok, dice que está bien, pero ella quiere ver si usted tiene un contrato de renta de julio del 2018.
Esto es lo que tengo.
This is what I have.
Tengo estos papeles.
Is that from July 2018?
¿Esto es de julio del 2018?
Mire, esto, la
Yes.
señora nos mandó esto, pero esto es lo mismo, pero aquí se muestra que esto es lo que yo firmé y este papel es parte del contrato. Aquí viene de los dos lados.
The lady sent us this documentation. However, what I have in here is what I signed, and this is the documentation that came to me afterwards.
Y esto está de los dos lados. Ahora, en lo que la señora nos mandó, muestra como que parte del contrato venía con la hoja que nosotros firmamos.
The contract that the lady sent us has two phases. However, the document we received and have a copy of it only has one phase. It seems like the other part of the page was also part of the contract.
Ms. Lewis, would you take a moment and go check to see if it's pages 1 through 4,
Okay.
the lease agreement, please?
Van por números. Por ejemplo, aquí dice que este es uno de 4, como,
numbers, and it says this is one of
como muestra aquí uno de 4,
Like
2 de
shows in
4, y eso no tiene número. Esta no va en el contrato.
According to what you can see, these are numbers 1 through 4, and these are the 1 through 4, but this page doesn't have a number. ¿Sí los puede llevar ella?
So I have a rent credit addendum, and I also have a lease agreement, and pages 1 through 4 are here. And the addendum is dated on July 10th,
Página
2018, and the rental agreement is dated for July 10th, 2018 as well.
All right. Abraham, could I ask that you hand me those copies? I'd like to take a look.
Está pidiendo que le den esas copias.
And then I also have a separate document that was provided to us. And this one is dated for July 10th as well. It does have pages 1 through 4. It should have pages 1 through 4 included, but it only is page 1 of 4.
Y tiene solamente la página 1 de 4.
Thank you.
And I also want to mention that the rent credit addendum from our research does not have a page number. It was a separate attachment.
También quiero que sepa usted que el amendamiento que se le hizo al contrato de renta no tiene número de página, es una página separada.
I've reviewed the documentation provided by Ms. Ortega, and they appear to be the same documents that I reviewed in the materials submitted to me by DCBA staff. So I do not have any further questions for you, Ms. Ortega. Gracias. Next, I'd like to call, please, Señora Kayla Lopez. Señorita Kayla Lopez. Buenos dias. Please, just state your name for the record, and then you may go ahead.
Por favor, diga su nombre para el récord y después puede empezar.
Mi nombre es Keila López.
My name is Kayla Lopez.
Y yo vengo aquí a que nos sobre la renta, porque yo me presenté con ella a su casa.
I am here to talk about the rent. Voy a necesitar que me dé una pausa cuando me diga oraciones completas y me dé una pausa para yo decirle a ella, ¿ok?
Yo fui a su casa de ella.
I went to her house
el 10 de julio del
by
2018.
10 of 2018.
Ella nos llevó para hablar con nosotros para darnos un crédito de la renta. Ella nos explicó,
wanted to talk to us about our credit.
Ella nos explicó muy bonito de la renta y todo. Ella nos dijo que nos estaba felicitando el dueño porque nosotros éramos los mejores alquilinos que tenía ella.
She gave us a very nice story. She told us that the property owner was congratulating us for being the best tenants in the property.
en pagar la renta. Y si alguien llegaba o decía que por qué estamos pagando esa renta, o que nosotros dijéramos que éramos, porque nosotros siempre tenemos limpio allí, teníamos limpio y todo.
And if somebody asked why were we paying that amount of money, we should respond that was because we always keep everything clean.
Y que ese era un crédito. Yo entendí que un crédito es que no nos iba a subir la renta, que porque éramos mejores alquilinos y todo.
And that was a credit. And I understood that my rent was not going to be raised because we were the best tenants.
Porque la verdad los aumentos que nos están haciendo es algo injusto porque los apartamentos no están como tienen que estar.
The rent increases they have given us are not fair because the apartments are not the way they should be.
Porque yo tuve un cortocircuito en abril y yo le dije yo a ella, porque yo tengo un niño de 8 años.
I had an electrical problem, a short in the system, and I told her because I have a minor in the house.
Y no me hizo caso. Hasta en 9 días ella contestó porque ella se dio cuenta que nosotros con los demás compañeros.
She did not respond to me until 9 days later because I was already talking to the other tenants.
Con demás compañeros nos pusimos y venimos a ver por qué. Porque no se está aumentando. No había llegado ni abril cuando ya estaba el aumento de mayo.
We came all together to talk to her, and Abril had not, it wasn't even April when we had already received a rent increase for May.
Es algo injusto que no esté sube y sube y los apartamentos no están bien como tienen que estar.
It is unfair that they keep on raising our rents and the apartments they are not the way they're supposed to be.
No está bien. Ella nos dijo cosas que no tenía que decirnos. Entonces, okay, yo firmé este papel, el papel, pero yo no firmé donde dice el contrato.
Okay, so I do recognize that I did sign this document, but I did not sign the contract.
En ningún momento yo sabía que era la renta de esto.
I
Yo
never
firmé
knew this was a rental agreement. I signed this document that I have in my hand.
En ningún momento ella me enseñó todas estas hojas aquí, en ningún momento.
Never showed me these other documents, and no, not ever she showed me these other documents.
En ningún momento dijo que era un contrato, que esto no.
She never told me this was a rent agreement.
Ella nomás dijo que esto era un crédito, por lo mismo que dijo que el banco también quería pruebas. I don't know.
She only told me that this was a credit because the bank needed some type of proof.
Y yo siento que es algo injusto que ella nos esté, porque los apartamentos no están como tienen que estar para estarle subiendo y subiendo, no.
And I believe this is unfair because the apartments are not the way they are supposed to be for her to be raising the rent again and again.
Ahorita sí, yo le digo, algo está malo, sí, lo manda a arreglar, pero anteriormente le decía yo, okay, doña Gloria, mire esto. Mandaba uno, mandaba otro. Y pues no.
Right now, if I ask for any repairs, she does them immediately, but before, she would send one person and another person.
Lo que yo me siento más es que el día que hubo un cortocircuito, ahí tengo los mensajes y la foto donde yo se lo mandé. Un cortocircuito de allí de mi conectador de mi cuarto, se lo dije a ella, tardó 9 días hasta que miró que como que yo vine al consumidor y todo. Ahí sí, ahí me estuvo llame y llame.
My biggest issue is that when I had the electrical problem in my room, I kept on calling her, and it took her 9 days to respond to me, not until I came to DCBA.
Es algo injusto porque esto no.
This is not fair.
Senora Lopez, so from September 2018
So desde septiembre del 2018
through April 2019,
hasta abril del 2019,
did you pay less than $1,300 rent?
¿usted pagaba menos de $1,300 de renta?
Sí.
Yes, sí.
Right. Thank you very much. I don't have any other questions for you.
Muchísimas gracias. No tiene más preguntas.
Right, next, please, Senora Maria Ramirez. Buenos días, señor.
My wife.
So, Señor Ramirez,
Señor Ramírez,
you need to fill out a speaker card when we finish.
usted va a necesitar llenar una forma para hablar cuando terminemos.
Okay.
Señor Ramirez, if I could just have you state your name for the record before you begin.
Señor Ramírez, por favor, diga su nombre completo para el récord antes de empezar.
Mi nombre es Alberto Ramírez.
My name is Alberto Ramírez.
Go ahead, Mr. Ramirez.
Ok, pueden comenzar.
Sí, mire, estamos en este caso por el exceso de aumento que mis vecinos son iguales que pues, del crédito que dijo que iba a haber un crédito. Al último estamos pagando más del crédito.
We are here to talk about the excessive rent increase. We were told that there was going to be a credit, but at the end we're paying way more money.
Por eso es el disgusto que tenemos, por eso venimos aquí al condado a verificar por qué era tanto el aumento.
That's why we came to the county. That's why we're upset. We came to find out why the increment was so high.
Cuando venimos aquí al condado, le mandaron un aviso al dueño y ella nos mandó el contrato, que nosotros nunca miramos el contrato para firmarlo.
When we came to the county, they reached out to the owner and he sent us the contract, a contract we had never seen.
Como dicen mis compañeros, y firmamos un papel que nunca nos dijo que teníamos que llegar yo ahora pago 1,650.
Like the other tenants have said, we received a paper that does not talk about the fact that I now pay $1,650.
El papel que firmé, cuando el condado le pidió el contrato al dueño, ella nos mandó un contrato, pero llenado por ella. Nosotros nunca llenamos el contrato.
Once the county reached out to them, she sent us a contract that it was filled out by her, that it was not filled out by us.
La firma que pusimos en el papel la usó en el contrato.
The signature that we put on the paper, she used it on the contract as well.
Y ahorita, agosto, octubre y noviembre, ya nos aumentó.
Now in October and November, we received an increase.
Ahora pago 1,699.50.
Now I pay $1,699 with 50 cents.
Yo creo que es injusto.
I don't
En
think it's
menos
fair.
de un año que es $400.
In less than a year, we have received a rent increase of about $400.
Pues eso es todo. Ahí usted ponga en consideración.
And,
Estamos en lo justo.
and that's it. I ask for your consideration to review if this is fair.
Eso es todo. Muchas gracias.
That's it. Thank you very
Gracias,
much.
Señor Ramirez. All right, and our last speaker is Gloria Hatchard.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please, actually, are you going to translate from back there, Henalou? You'll interpret from back there? Okay, but the members of the public, or the petitioners do not. The petitioners speak Spanish. So even though the respondent speaks English, there still needs to be a translation on the record, because you're going to be translating for the petitioners, I still need, yes, I still need you to stay here so it's the entire hearing. I'm sorry.
Yo voy a pedir que le haga unas pausas para yo poder interpretar en español, ¿ok?
So you'll be translating from the English to the Spanish for those members of the public who need a translation to Spanish, and we need to have it on the record.
Okay.
So, please, Ms. Hatcher, just state your name for the record and you may begin.
Por favor,
Yes.
diga su nombre y puede
My
empezar.
name is Gloria Hatcher, and I manage this property.
Mi nombre es Gloria Hatcher y yo manejo esta propiedad.
Well, I am kind of disappointed with my tenants because, yes, like one of them say, they are my favorite tenants. They pay on time. They're really good tenants, no problems. So,
Yo estoy un poco molesta con mis inquilinos porque, como ellos dicen, ellos son muy buenos inquilinos.
So before was a no rent control that apartment. So the rents went up, and the owner says,
Antes de que hubiera control de renta, las rentas fueron incrementadas en los apartamentos.
the owner says we have to raise the rent in this property because the rents are low. And I told him, you know what, there is a hard people, they're hard work. And he said, you know what, let's do something with this building. We're gonna do a lease with them, with an addendum, and we're gonna have to get this amount for this apartment, 1,300 one bedroom.
Yo hablé con el dueño de la propiedad, él dijo que las rentas estaban muy bajas y que había que aumentarlas. Yo le dije que estas personas puede que estén pasando por un momento difícil y que cómo ayudarlas. Él me dijo, hay que hacer un contrato de renta
And do an addendum that little by little, with the increase, with the credits, okay, it's going to be in decrease. So at one point, they're going to get the whole amount that is cost on the market, the apartments.
Vamos a hacer también un ajuste para que el precio, para que los incrementos se hagan poco a poco hasta llegar al costo de lo que un apartamento como este se renta en el mercado.
And that's what we did.
Y eso es lo que
I
hicimos.
explained to them, I told them, we're going to give you the credits. It's going to work like this. From this month to this month, you're going to pay this. And I explained to them, and it was signed some letters to them.
Yo les expliqué paso a paso que estos eran créditos y cómo es que los incrementos iban a tomar lugar y también se les mandaron algunas cartas.
I think that confusion here is about the credits they think is getting, but here is that, the credits were down, so it was 300 for one apartment. I don't have the numbers here, but obviously it went down to the point that say you have no more credit, now you have to pay the whole amount of the lease that it was signed.
Yo creo que la confusión está en los créditos, de que esos créditos fueron bajando poco a poco hasta que ya no había más créditos y ahora sí les tocaba pagar la renta completa.
Now, it really upsets me, and I would like to get anything I think I have to do, it's about the signatures. They signed the list, and that I am, you know what, this is more that I try to get here because it's not fair. That is like I can't do that. I've been in this business for 30 years.
Lo que más me molesta es que ellos están diciendo que esas no son sus firmas. Yo tengo más de 30 años en este negocio, lo que están diciendo que no reconocen sus firmas.
And that is very sad for me because it's like it's my person, it's my reputation.
Eso me pone muy triste porque ellos están hablando de mi persona y de mi reputación.
Other than that, I think that the lease with the addendum, I think that we did the best for these tenants, and at the same time to get the property in the market.
De cualquier manera, yo creo que ese contrato de renta junto con el cambio que se hizo es lo mejor que pudimos nosotros hacer para ayudar a estas personas que están rentando la propiedad y poder que el apartamento llegue al costo que se debe rentar en el mercado el día de hoy.
About the condition of the apartments, if I have to say something, yes, we've been doing some updates, like the bathrooms were ugly, and the 2 bedrooms, we did big updates in the floors, in the kitchen. So we've been working a lot with them, and like I say, whatever you need, just tell me, but you remember.
Acerca de las condiciones de los apartamentos, sí necesitan, yo estoy de acuerdo, necesitan algunos ajustes, algunas reparaciones, pero yo les he dicho, los baños están feos, pero yo les he dicho que me avisen. Cualquier cosa que ellos necesiten, lo vamos a hacer.
We did the bathrooms to all of them. We fixed them.
Ya reparamos 2 baños.
No, the 4th one. The
Oh,
4th.
ya reparamos los 4 baños, perdón.
And the 2 bedroom, yes. And 3 bedrooms, the 1 bedroom. And in the
3
2
recámaras y
bedrooms,
una recámara. Y
we
en
fixed
las 2
the
recámaras
kitchen. We put
reparamos la cocina,
the floors.
reparamos los pisos.
I really care for that apartment because these people are really nice people. They have foster parents, so I know that they need to live really good. So we do our best. I do.
Yo tengo mucho aprecio para estos apartamentos porque yo sé que las personas que viven ahí son padres de crianza y trato de ayudarles lo más que puedo.
Yeah, so other than that, I don't think I have nothing more to say. Do with the papers that we have there, the signatures belong to them. Put in.
No tengo
Do that
nada más que
something wrong
decir.
with that.
Usted tiene ahí los documentos, usted tiene las firmas.
That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Hatchard. I do have a question for you.
Sure.
Gracias, señora Hatchard. Sí, le tengo una pregunta.
Why don't you have lease agreements in Spanish?
¿Por qué no tienen contratos de renta en español?
You know what? I do all of them in English, but I think there is something. I mean, you know, like since now on, I can do that. I mean, no one asked for that.
Solamente los tengo en inglés.
Yeah,
Yo puedo hacer eso, pero siempre los hemos hecho en inglés.
Don't you think it could avoid certain misunderstandings if the lease agreements are in the primary language of the person you're renting to?
¿No cree usted que pueda evitar algunos problemas si los contratos de renta estuvieran en el lenguaje principal de sus inquilinos?
I think, yeah, that can help us, to them and to me. But
Yo
like
creo que sí, eso nos puede ayudar.
And I'm sure that there are rental agreements printed in Spanish. I'm sure they're out there somewhere.
Yo estoy segura que hay contratos de renta que ya están en español, que en algún lugar hay contratos de renta en español.
Just something for you to think about.
Algo para que usted lo piense.
I don't have any further questions for you. Thank you, Ms. Hatcher.
No tengo
Thank you
más
so
preguntas
much,
para
okay?
usted.
Thank you.
Right now, we're not finished. These are the most fun hearings.
I see that.
Petitioners are allowed a rebuttal period. What do I need for you to translate that?
Las personas que hicieron la petición tienen la oportunidad de hablar nuevamente,
If they like.
si quieren, acerca de las declaraciones de la señora Gloria.
Senor Martinon, would you like to rebut? Sí, come on down. You have up to 5 minutes.
Tiene hasta 5 minutos.
You don't need to use it all.
No
No
verse todo.
necesita hablarlo, no usarlo todo.
Ok, eso lo que dice
What she's
Es-
saying,
es mentira.
Es a lie.
Que nos explicó detalle por
explain
detalle.
every detail.
Eso es mentira.
It's a lie.
Simplemente que dice que también está molesta porque nosotros no estamos conformes con nuestra firma. Eso también es mentira.
The fact that she's saying that we don't recognize our signature is also a lie.
Porque la firma nomás firmó mi mujer y yo.
Because the signatures is only my wife and
Y aquí
me.
está una firma de mi hijo que no firmó.
And there is another
no se
signature
presentó.
of my son who wasn't even there.
Y entonces, ¿por qué está diciendo que nosotros decimos mentiras?
Why is she saying that we are lying?
Que le estamos difamando, ¿o cómo es que dice?
That we are saying wrongful things about her.
Porque como ya tiene mucho tiempo, que ella dice que de manager tiene más experiencia.
Since she has been a manager for such a long time, she should have more experience.
Nosotros nosotros no nos hemos presentado en ningún momento en estos lugares. Por eso estamos tímidos. En ningún momento nosotros hemos presentado en algunos lugares de estos. Por eso nosotros estamos tímidos, no podemos desarrollar.
We have never been in situations like this. That's why we are a little shy today.
La señora Ortega, que se hizo bolas en que dice que le preguntó que cuánto estaba pagando el mes de julio.
Ms. Ortega was confused because she was asked how much she was paying in July.
Y se hizo bolas y no le pudo explicar porque, por lo mismo, con lo que le acabo de decir.
She was very confused and she couldn't explain to you because of the same reason I just told you.
No estoy es que uno no ¿cómo se dice?
I am not very...
Cuando hubiera uno traído las cosas en orden perfecto, pero nosotros no sabíamos ni a qué veníamos.
I could have probably brought things in order, but I didn't even know what I was coming
En
to.
ese mes, más o menos, estábamos pagando $1,050.
In that month, we were paying approximately $1,050.
¿Y cómo es de que en menos de un año aumentar 250? Pues no.
How is it possible that in less than a year they raised the rent by $250?
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very
Muchas
much.
gracias, señor Martinez. Senora Ortega, would you like rebuttal? No? All right. Senora Lopez, rebuttal? Would you like to take rebuttal time?
¿Al señor López le gustaría hablar nuevamente?
Otra cosa que tenemos con ella, que yo principalmente yo le he pedido los recibos de la renta y ella no nos da.
Another problem that I have with her is that I have asked her for the receipts and she never wants to give it to us.
No nos da el recibo de renta y yo ya se lo pedí, ya le mandé una notificación a ella que por favor me diera los recibos de la renta, no me los mandó.
I have even sent her a notification that I need rental receipts, but she still hasn't given them to me.
Y como ella dice que nos explicó correctamente, no es así.
And the fact that she's saying that she explained to us in detail, that is not true.
Si yo hubiera sabido que mi renta era de 1,300 y nos iba a estar aumentando, yo no hubiera firmado ese contrato porque yo no lo firmé. Yo nomás firmé un papel en blanco.
If I would have known that my rent was $1,350, I would have never signed that contract. I only signed a blank paper.
Porque es algo que no, como yo lo vuelvo y lo digo y lo repito otra vez, es algo injusto que nos estés aumentando la renta donde los apartamentos no están adecuadamente como tienen que estar.
It is unfair, I believe, that the apartment rent is being increased even though the apartments are not the way they are supposed to be.
Para mí es algo injusto o que o sea, no. En el momento que ella explicó lo que ella dijo del crédito, que porque, o de lo mismo que dijo del banco, que porque si llegaba alguien que de supervisar o que dijéramos que como nosotros somos buenos alquilinos.
So the fact that she said that she explained to us the credits, that if somebody asked for us to answer that we are good tenants.
Y si ella dice que ella está molesto y se siente así con nosotros estamos más todavía porque los perjudicados somos nosotros.
If she is upset because of what we are saying, we are even more upset because we are actually being affected by this.
Porque es algo injusto. Yo tengo 3 hijos.
It is not fair. I have 3 children.
Y pues es algo que nomás aumente. Anteriormente le decíamos, arregle algo. Ok, yo principalmente tengo miedo de decirle, mándeme a arreglar algo porque ahí va el aumento. Y no, pues no.
It is not fair that they keep on raising and raising the rent. Before, we would be afraid to ask for any repairs because when we ask for repairs, then there is a rent increase.
Algo injusto para mí. Si ella se siente molesta, pues nosotros estamos más todavía porque nosotros somos los afectados.
It's not fair. And if she is upset, we're even more upset because we are being affected.
Todo.
That's it.
Gracias, Señor Lopez. All right, Señor Ramirez.
Señor Ramírez?
Go ahead, sir.
Le quería hacer una pregunta.
Question.
Durante los aumentos que nos dieron, el gobernador firmó una ley que no podía aumentar más del 10%.
While we
Si
received
esto
this,
aplica en este caso.
while we were given these rent increases, the governor signed a law that we were not supposed to get a raise of more than 10%. I would like to know if this applies to our case.
I don't think that state law goes into effect until January or March, so no, it would
No
not
creo que
affect.
la ley del estado sea efectiva hasta enero o hasta marzo, así que no.
Yeah.
Por los incendios.
Because of the fires.
What fires?
Los
Incendios.
incendios que acaban de pasar en Santa Clarita, en
Because of the fires that just happened in Santa Clarita.
And how did those fires affect your rent?
¿Y cómo es que esos fuegos le afectan su renta?
No, yo nomás le hice la pregunta si eso aplica en estos casos del aumento de la renta.
I just
No
wanted
es que
to-
me afecta.
I just wanted to know if that law changes anything in my case.
No, sir, it does not.
No, señor, no cambia nada.
Ok. La señora dice que nosotros firmamos el contrato, okay, que las firmas que son de nosotros. Sí,
Agreement.
nosotros no estamos negando que las firmas no sean de nosotros.
We're not
Sino
denying that those are our signatures.
El caso de que cuando el condado le pidió el contrato,
The problem is that when the county asked for the contract,
esta firma
this signature,
puso atrás del contrato.
he put it on the back of the contract.
Eso es lo que estamos confundidos de este contrato.
That's why we're so confused about this contract.
Pues eso es todo.
That's it.
Gracias, señor. Don't forget to fill out a speaker card, please.
No se le olvide llenar el papel.
Ya
Ya lo llenó. He already filled it out.
All right, thank you. And there is not a rebuttal for the respondent. You- All right, Ms. Pratt, are you correcting me again? Please do.
I wanted to mention two things. So in regards to the last petitioner's question, that is actually in response to an anti-gouging bill that was passed whenever a state of emergency is declared. And so that does extend to rental housing. However, it's not necessarily dealt with within the jurisdiction of our ordinance, but there is state law surrounding that. I also wanted to mention Civil Code 1632, which actually states that any business or any negotiation performed in a language other than English mandates that as long as it was conducted primarily in that language, that they should have received a contract in that language.
I think that's very important for Ms. Hatchard to hear. Thank you, Ms. Pratt. And Ms. Lewis, do you have anything to add to the testimony given this morning?
Not at this time, no.
All right. This was,
I apologize. It appears there's one more public comment.
we have someone for public comment or someone who's speaking on one of the items on the agenda?
About the case? On items 2 through 5, but just all items, not specific to one of the cases.
All right. Could I have that speaker card, please?
Madam Hearing Officer, I think that would fall under Part 3, public comment.
It probably would fall under public comment since it's comment on items that are on the agenda. I'm going to go ahead and take it, Mr. County Counsel, within the public hearing items, just because it's related to something on the agenda. Public comment tends to be something that's not related to something on the agenda. If I get myself in trouble, you are absolved of all responsibility.
Very well, Madam Hearing Officer.
Thank you. This is 2. Oh, for Mr. Ramirez, thank you. Oscar Zarate? Either way, whichever way you like. What I need for you to do first is to stand there and raise your right hand to be sworn in, because you have not been sworn in yet. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please be seated.
Thank you.
You have 2 minutes for public comment. There's a little timer on the desk in front of you here. When your time to speak starts, the green light comes on. When you have 30 seconds left, the yellow light comes on. So when you see the yellow light, make sure you wrap up your comments. When the red light comes on, you want to make sure you've completed your comments. And before you begin speaking, just please, I need for you to state your name for the record.
Yeah, my name is Oscar Uriel Zarate.
Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for letting me do this public comment. I'm a community organizer with SAGE, Strategic Actions for a Just Economy. We're a nonprofit in South Central LA that supports tenants. I've been the main organizer supporting this particular building with their issue, and I just want to echo exactly what the sentiments are. I've read over the contracts. There seems to be some manipulation and some dishonesty in part of the landlord. I know she just spoke and said they were doing them a favor for giving them these rent credits, but you know, someone who grew up in this community, I grew up in Compton for so many years.
Back off just a little bit from the microphone, and then we won't get as much feedback.
Is this okay? Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, just just from just looking at these contracts, I think you made a very valid question as to like why aren't these landlords trying their best to try to communicate in a clear and concise way so there isn't any of these miscommunications. I just want to elaborate a little bit more on the question that Alberto asked. I believe that during the time that these rent increases were given, there was an emergency order from the governor to prohibit rent gouging, many different commodities, one of them being rent, and that's a 10% rent ban. It's not the current one that the governor just signed that is currently in effect until the end of the year, and it's not AB 1482, which I think you were thinking of, which starts next year. It's one that was given for the fires during that particular time of last year in September. I could be wrong, but I do want to ask county council to look into that and see if it applies to this particular case, because I believe it does, and yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Zarate.
Of course.
So, Mr. County Counsel, does it seem to you that either of the laws signed by the governor, excuse me, this morning relate, and not having looked into it, relate in any way to the petitions before me?
I cannot address the specific bills or laws that were raised, but as to the particular cases before you, I'm not sure there's a direct impact in terms of your decision making and whether or not that has an impact on the particular claims before you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tran. And Ms. Lewis, do you have anything to add?
Not at this time, no.
All right, then I am closing the public hearings. The interim rent stabilization ordinance states in a petition for noncompliance that the tenant shall bear the burden of proving beyond a preponderance of the evidence that the rent increase is not in compliance with the ordinance. In looking at this case, I went to the ordinance and I looked up the definitions for rent and for a housing service. The ordinance defines rent as the sum of all periodic payments and all non-monetary consideration demanded or received by a landlord from a tenant for the use or occupancy of a covered rental unit, including tenants' access to and use of housing services. Rent includes, without limitation, the fair market value of goods accepted, labor performed, or services rendered. The definition for housing service is all services provided by the landlord related to the use or occupancy of a covered rental unit, including but not limited to insurance, repairs, replacement, maintenance, painting, utilities, heat, water, elevator service, laundry facilities, recreational areas and/or pools, janitorial service, refuse removal, furnishings, parking, storage, and security services. The documentation submitted by the petitioners shows the rent on 11 September was either $1,300 or, in the case of the Ramirez family, $1,650, that was the official rent. While the petitioner paid less than those amounts for the 8 months from August 2018 through April 2019, the lower amount was a credit to the petitioner, an incentive by the landlord for the tenant to pay the rent early or on time. Under the definitions of the ordinance, a rent credit does not meet the ordinance definition of a housing service. Therefore, termination of a rent credit cannot be determined to equal an increase in rent. Now, I understand that there are some issues raised by the petitioners concerning the lease agreement. As staff stated in the staff reports, issues related to the lease agreement itself and whether a valid contract was in effect are not related to the rent stabilization ordinance. Therefore, questions about the validity of a contract are beyond the scope of the ordinance and beyond the scope of my authority as a hearing officer for the rent stabilization ordinance. Because of that, I must decide that the petitioners have not met the burden of proof. Documentation submitted as reviewed by staff substantiates by a preponderance of the evidence that petitioners' rent was not increased within the last 12 months in excess of the 3% allowed by the interim rent stabilization ordinance. Given the evidence presented, I deny the following petitions for non-compliance. Case RSQ 19-06435, RSQ 19-06436, RSQ 19-06437, and RSQ 19-06438. Petitioner's rent may be increased in accordance with the county ordinance in October 2020 after the state required notice period. The rent may not be increased until October 2020. My findings will be issued within 20 calendar days. The items are concluded here at the county because, again, the restrictions and the limitations and the limited scope of the ordinance prevent me from making any other decision today. This does not mean that the petitioners do not have recourse through civil court. With that, items 2 through 5 are concluded, and I thank you for coming down. I do believe that, I'm very glad Ms. Pratt brought up the issue of the contracts being in a language that is understood by the petitioners, and I think this is also a lesson in making sure that whatever documentation you have, your tenants have too. I thank everybody for coming down today. Again, items 2 through 5 are concluded. Moving on to item 6, case RSQ 19-11184. I'm sorry, Ms. Hatchard. Ms. Hatchard, we're still in session here. I have another item that I need to have Ms. Lewis address. Please proceed, Ms. Lewis.
Thank you. The case you mentioned again is RSQ 19-11184, which is the petitioner Alice Hardy versus the tenants at 1114 through 1118 West 102nd Street, Los Angeles, California, 90044. The item is a petition for relief from moratorium to request a rent increase in excess of the allowable limit as established by the interim rent stabilization ordinance 2018-0045. The petitioner, Alex Hardy, owns the properties located at 1114 through 1118 West 102nd Street, Los Angeles, California, 90044. At this time, the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs is requesting additional time for review and analysis of the supporting documentation provided by the petitioner. We're requesting a continuance of this case to December 9th, 2019.
Thank you very much. As I have no speaker cards for this item, I do not need to open the public hearing. Therefore, to provide staff sufficient time to properly review petitioner's documentation, item 6, case RSQ 19-11184 is continued to 9 December 2019. We also do not have anybody signed up for non-case related public comment. Therefore, the DCBA hearing officer is adjourned to 10 a.m. Thursday, December 5th, 2019. Thank you, everyone.